Welcome back to the Mackem in the Middle podcast. End of the season has arrived, and of course, we've already recorded a podcast talking about that playoff defeat to a team that has just completely gone out of my mind.
Luton Town,
just completely blanked there. Feels like it's been weeks without football, and it hasn't already, months to go. But of course, at the end of every season, we will go through the best moments, the best goals, the best players, and everything along the lines of that. And we'll not waste any time, and we'll get straight into everything that happened throughout the season. And the first thing we will start with, and I'll start with you on that one, Michael, will be moment of the season.
So what's it like?
It's up to you how you want to interpret it, but moment of the season. Are we on the pitch, off the pitch, anything? In the stands, whatever you want.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll go around this. I'll go best and worst. I'll start with worst. I think the worst moment for me was probably losing 5-1 to Stoke. Everyone knows my opinions on Alex Neil, so I won't go into that. But yeah, that was horrendous. But best moment, it's got to be Preston. And I think it's probably, and I think you'll probably relate to it because I think you were there, weren't you? So I think if you're, I mean, it would have been a great moment even if I'd gone and watched it in the pub. But I think being in that away end is just something that hits completely differently. Especially the moment when Blackburn beat Brereton Diaz, earned himself in Sunderland folklore by scoring the winner against Millwall to get us in the playoffs. That was just a crazy, crazy day out, and one I'm never going to forget.
Yeah, that is fair enough. Adam, moment of the season, and you can chuck in the worst one as well if you want.
I completely agree with Michael. The best one definitely has to be hearing it went 3-3 and then 4-3 and just standing on the chairs, turning around, sticking fingers up, letting everyone know the score. No one's believing yet. Everyone's asking the mate, is it 4-3? Is it 4-3? It's like, for me, that is the best game I've ever been to. Yeah. And I think as a football fan,
also the more stressful though.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's what makes it so good. And as a football fan, you go to football matches and you support a team to have days like that. And honestly, I genuinely don't think that Luton or Coventry, if they were to win at Wembley, it will top that day in that away end at Preston.
Yeah. Although someone did tell me it was 5-3 at some time in that game. And it turns out it never was.
Because for me, that day Preston beats Wembley last year.
The playoff win?
The playoff win. I'm not necessarily the weekend. I'm on about the actual football match itself and the feeling, the emotions. The Preston game will never, ever, ever be topped, I don't think.
I can see why you say that, to be fair.
Would it have been topped if we got to Wembley?
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Because the actual emotions of winning a game of football, like for Wickham, for example, when we beat Wickham 2-0 at Wembley, the thing that was amazing about that was going down to Trafalgar Square with your friends and your family and like just having the best weekend ever. But the actual game of football, it had two moments of like relief and happiness. But the Preston game, it was just this full second half was just stress, like happiness, like just it had everything you want in a football game for me. And I just think that Preston game was far and away the best game I've ever been to. And even if we then went to Wembley this year and won, I still don't think the actual emotions of that second half at Deepdale could be topped.
Fair way of putting it. Next one is game of the season, which again, starting with you, Michael, depends how you want to interpret it.
I do think we should maybe.
Go on. Maybe.
Go on, Adam. Go on.
Adam's just
yeah. While you're quickly saying that, what I will say in defence of what Adam said is, I do kind of get it. I think that the moment one of the reasons I say Preston is because of the singular moment of the roar from the away end when Brereton Diaz put Blackburn 4-3 up, and that was something else. And then the roar, because their game finished a minute ahead of ours, I believe. So once we found out they'd won, we were in the top 6. That was just a special moment, especially for a team that came up through the playoffs just a year ago.
It was. And I'm sure Adam was about to make the best point anyone's ever made there. But he has disappeared somewhere. So, like I say, game of the season, I'll start with you, Michael, and interpret it how you want in terms of from a neutral point of view, from our point of view, from, the goals in the game that were scored, however you want to interpret it.
Wow, there's a few different criteria. It depends because game of the season, obviously, it's a few different criteria that you could judge it by. If you're talking in terms of, right, okay, for me, even though everyone knows by now I don't like conceding goals at all, I have to be honest, the 4-4 against Hull was probably some of the best entertainment. From an attacking point of view, that's some of the best I've seen Sunderland play. And if you want to look at any of the goals, just go and look at the fourth goal against Hull. The way that we transition from back to front so quickly with confidence in the space of probably 20, 30 seconds was just something that I've not seen Sunderland do. And yes, it's in the Championship, not the Premier League, but we've had 4 years of League One. So I think we're due a bit of good fortune. But I mean, so that was probably game of the season from like an entertainment perspective. If you're talking like it's in performance of the season, there's quite a few of them. I think the Borough win stands out.
I'll stop you there because that is very much the next one.
Okay, well, I'll shut up with that then. If you're talking game of the season for entertainment, then I would go with Hull. But obviously not from me personally. But I think just from an attacking point of view, that was entertainment value, shall we say?
Yeah, and I think that was the game where a lot of people thought the playoff hopes had died. Really,
myself much included. Thankfully, you could say it was a point that got us into the playoffs. So
it was.
The 4-4 is definitely the most probably entertaining game. I think our biggest win was away at West Brom, and I think one of the most enjoyable away games was Wigan away, the 4-1.
Oh, don't get me started.
Any game against Wigan's enjoyable, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've got a 4 points deduction next season as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Or is that 3 points?
Got minus 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make of that what you will. Do with that what you will. Like Michael was about to allude to there, performance of the season. Again, starting with you, Michael, there is a few.
There definitely is.
You can look at some of the, Preston is probably up there, to be honest. Like you said, a couple of the other ones as well. Middlesbrough, albeit probably slightly down to a refereeing decision, which possibly went our way. Not going to say too much on that one, but performance of the season for you would be?
Yeah, I mean, I forgot about West Brom actually, but I think we've played better than that. Yeah, I think if I had to look at it, certainly for a home performance, which is a bit easier to pick from, Borough, and probably an away performance. Oh, God, I should have really thought of this before I came on. Yeah, I'll since you already mentioned Preston, I think I probably would stick with. Actually, I'll tell you what, no, I'll go slightly different. Because Wigan and Preston were good from an attacking point of view, but probably one of our best performances was Burnley away for me. And bear in mind, this is a Burnley. I mean, we were the last team, I think, that took points off Burnley before their promotion was secured. So that in itself is quite incredible, really, to go there when we were really not fancied. We just had, I think that was just after the international break, and I believe Danny Barr had been confirmed to pretty much be out for the rest of the season. Sorry, not Danny Barr, Dan Ballard. That was the point where he got injured on Northern Ireland. Or I can't remember what nationality he is. I don't really care. But so my geography was never my strong point, never will be. But yeah, that performance was great. We contained Burnley to probably 1 or 2 good chances at best, and probably could have nicked it ourselves. I think Burnley was just an all-round great performance, and I think against a team that ended up walking the league, that's no mean feat away from home.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Adam, performance of a season?
I think the two that stand out to me is either Fulham away in the FA Cup. I thought just being able to show our own against a Premier League outfit, that's, I think their manager's been nominated for manager of the season as well, hasn't he? And a little bit more niche, but I thought the first half against Cardiff away, we were just so on top of them, playing probably the best quick move football.
Oh, it's gone again.
This is going to...
I'm back.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
My phone went off. What did I get up to? Cardiff.
Tell me about how we bossed Cardiff in the first half away.
Just the first half was class. And I think after about 30 minutes, their manager panicked. And did he not make like 2 or 3 substitutions?
Testing knowledge.
Possibly.
I remember someone made a few changes. I think it might have been Cardiff, when they made changes well before half time.
Yeah, I've just checked. They made 2 changes on the 36th minute and then again at half time.
Yeah, I do remember that one. There's quite a few performances, I think, throughout the season. There's definitely a few that would go the other way as well, but we'll leave them out because next we'll go with probably the hardest one. goal of the season, none of which were nominated for goal of the year, which is quite remarkable. But, you've got Ahmad's pretty much 13 of the 14 goals that he scored for us. Jack Clark scored quite a few good ones. Obviously, the one at Reading, which I'm sure will come up. So many you can pick from, but pick one.
Well, scandalous, I think, is the word you're looking for, that none of these goals were nominated for goal of the season. But I think, for me, it's amongst all the great goals we've scored, the obvious one for me is still the goal at Reading, which to this day should have been goal of the season. Like, that's the proper goal of the season. Again, like I said earlier, I have never, ever seen Sunderland play football like that. I've never seen, and again, watching it, I was in the pub at the time watching it, and I didn't realise or appreciate at the time how good it actually was. So to go, and Reading, I know they ended up getting relegated, but weren't Reading top 3 at that point? Weren't they like near top of the division?
They were, yeah.
Yes, I thought they were. So, and that was the first time and if my memory's correct, that's the first time they dropped points at home, let alone lost at home. So that third goal just exudes confidence, exudes the character of the team, just the faith they've got in each other to meet, to sort of just complete triangles and meet each other's passes. And it was just really, really good. So yeah, for me, Reading away goal of the season, but there's a library of goals you could pick from this year that could be for that accolade.
Yeah. Goal of the season for you, Adam?
Yeah, again, I never really like giving a goal of the season to someone who's just kicked the ball really hard. I think it should always go to like a well worked team goal, and I think Huddersfield away was one that we had. West Brom away was another, but
yeah,
Reading for me definitely, but different Bowers, because at the time I was in the pub. And the thing that made it brilliant was how we all appreciated it at the time. So the ball got played to someone, he flicked it on, the pub went, oh, another flick, oh, and then straight downhill, oh, and then as that ball goes across the clock, everyone was like, oh, and as it hit the net, it was just like, wow. It was incredible, and I
needed to have been in that pub. That sounded great.
Yeah. I won't be listening back to that last 10 seconds, by the way, either.
I'll make sure to just clip that and post that as a teaser for the podcast.
Oh, go on, you should.
I think there's so many other goals as well that probably no one, if you ask that question, would ever bring up, but would definitely be a conversation. I say pretty much every Ahmad goal that he scored, the Preston one, the Luton free kick, there is quite a few of them, isn't there?
Well, Wigan away is another one.
About
Wigan.
6 weeks in a row, Dan was clipping up goals and putting them on Twitter because of how good they were.
Goals, getting them likes.
Yeah.
Like someone else in here. Signing of the season. Dare say I know where this one's going to go, Michael. Or maybe not, because I know what you like to point out.
Oh, signing of the season. Well, I suppose again, yeah, I think it depends, because there's one from defence and attack. I think Dan Ballard, but obviously he's missed half the season, hasn't he? You know what it is? I know that Adam, both of you are going to mention someone really obvious. I'm going to end up kicking myself, but screw it. Ahmad's got to be up there first. I think the two that stand out to me are probably Ahmad and, of course, signing Jack Clark permanently.
Yeah.
I suspect that was who you thought I was going to go with, but yeah, Jack Clark is just someone, obviously, again, that I've championed for so long. And to be fair, last season he was inconsistent in League One, but I think this season he's got our most goal contributions combined with goals and assists, hasn't he?
Yes.
But yeah, okay. I don't know.
I think Ross. I could be wrong on this, but I feel like Ross Stewart is second on that.
Probably would be. He's only
which is quite remarkable. I feel like he had about 15 goal contributions. I'm going to check while you keep talking.
Something like that. I know he definitely got 10 goals in the appearances that he made, which is insane. But yeah, I would say, it's hard because if you're thinking about Ahmad or Clark, Clark in terms of numbers has made the bigger contribution, but I think that Ahmad's moments are better because you can tell he's just got that level above the Championship, and it's a shame we're not going to see him again. I don't think it's certainly not next season. So if you're pushing me for an answer, yeah, I've got to go Ahmad. He's just too good.
Yeah, that's the only answer it could be. My dad said he's never seen a player like Ahmad at Sunderland before. He's never seen someone as good as him at Sunderland before, like for his technical ability, and I don't think we ever will see anyone again. I've never seen a footballer have so much control over every single part of his body. like not necessarily like long distance speed, but over short distances, his acceleration to go both ways is just incredible. And I think the goal at home to Middlesbrough shows that the best. You know, he's left, he goes right, he goes left, and it's just a goal within like 2 seconds. Not even that. He's just remarkable. Like,
yeah.
Okay, just to rephrase it, you could, sorry to interrupt, but you could go loan signing of the season, Ahmad, permanent Jack Clark, sorted.
Yeah, that's a fair way of putting it. And just looking there, Clark got 24 contributions. Then it was Ahmad with 18. And then it was Ross Stewart with 14.
Do you know what's a little bit worrying though, right? For sign of the season, who actually could come close? Got like let's say we had Jack Clark last season, okay? So I know it's technically a permanent signing, but he hasn't been added to the squad, if you get what I mean. Ahmad is a loan signing. If you look at our other signings, none of them have actually done like Dan Ballard has, but he's been injured for the majority of it. We haven't actually had a signing that's stayed in our team for the full season.
Am I wrong on this, or did Patrick Roberts sign this season?
But he joined us permanently 8 months ago. We basically signed him.
Actual signings. We haven't had a signing come into our team and actually do incredible, have we? Which I think, well, again, I've only just thought about this there. To be fair,
you have and you haven't, because you've got Ballard, who's been good when he's played, and it's just an unfortunate injury. You've got obviously Sims again, another loan signing, but when he said he was scoring goals, went back in January. Bennett, who got injured again, didn't really play too much before that, but still got, I think, 3 or 4 goal contributions.
Equa never really played much.
I think James would disagree with that, though, if you were to say he's not a good signer.
No. But what I mean is, I give him so much credit, but I've only just realised there we haven't actually signed a player who we didn't have last season that's played a lot of games this season and has been amazing. Like, Ballard is a great signing and he's one of the best centre-halves in the Championship, but even he hasn't played much this season. I just think it's just an interesting point, if anything.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But, yeah, Gelhardt, technically, played quite a lot.
Yeah, but again, he's on loan.
He is. And loan signings are the way in the Championship, aren't they?
That's brilliant, to be fair.
Most improved player, Michael.
Oh, most improved. Well, recent week. I'll satisfy James. I mentioned this. Most in recent weeks, probably Pierre Equa. Another example of people writing players off way too quickly. But okay, if I had to put most improved, probably there's 2 candidates that stand out to me, and one of them I didn't think could cope it in the Championship, but he has. Luke O'Nien. I think Luke O'Nien's been just incredible. I always saw him as a really good, robust League One player. But
would you say he was improved though, or would you say that people just underestimated the ability that he could have in the Championship?
Maybe, but I probably say, well, I suppose you could argue underestimated, but I just think, well, put it this way: did you see when he started the season? Did you see Luke O'Nien starting regularly for us and playing well?
I didn't.
So for that reason, for me, it's a funny one. Okay, scratch it. Even if you don't want to include Luke O'Nien, for me, Dennis Serkins. If you don't want to include Luke O'Nien, Dennis Serkins the other one. Because Dennis Serkins a goal machine now. You know, just stick him up front. But he's someone. I mean, I've been a big fan of Dennis Serkins anyway, but I think Serkins' just all-round game this season when he's played has been really, really good. I know he's obviously had a few injury spells, and he obviously had that concussion at Millwall, but which is quite funny. He scored a set piece at Millwall, which is the last place I'd expect Sunderland. We don't expect us to go score set pieces anyway, let alone at a place like Millwall. But yes, I would say Dennis Serkins, but I would still personally put Luke O'Nien in there because I didn't think he'd be good enough for the Championship. But that's just who I would go with.
Yeah, that was a fair way. Adam?
I think there's 4 people, possibly. I think, first of all, look at the wingers, Clark and Roberts. They've had far better seasons this season than they did last season in League One.
I think Clark is the one that I was thinking of the most. I think it was 4 goal contributions last season in League One.
Mm-hmm. And then
he's 20.
Yeah, he's jumped up to 20 odd, whatever it is.
You've got Corey Evans, who I think 99% of the Sunderland fan base thought he was rubbish last season. And as soon as he got injured this season, we kind of realised how important he was. But I think the answer has got to be Trey Hume. I think when we saw him last season, he looked weak. He looks like a bit off the pace. And this season, he's just been fantastic.
He has. And I think even Patrick Roberts as well. Even Pritchard could be in there as well.
You could be any of them, you know.
There's quite a few you could put in, because I think even Pritchard, you know, even before he signed for Sunderland, championship-wise at least, struggled to get goals and assists. I'm not actually sure what numbers he got in League One, if I can quickly check, but I don't think it was good. But I think Roberts got, 11 goal contributions this season. Obviously, like I said, Jack Clark as well.
Pritchard got 11
5 times. Was it 11 last season for him? Yeah. So there is quite a few players you could throw in there. And last but not least, player of the season, which again, there's a few you could go with. I think a couple stand out more than anyone else. So, Michael,
are you doing young player of the season as a category, or are you just going player of the season?
Straight up player of the season.
Right. Okay. Well, the obvious one is already Danny Bart. He's been the colossal rock at the back, and I think, I mean, again, I mentioned the Burnley game earlier, and I think he's an example of why we got a result out of that game, because of how good defensively he was. But obviously, you know, there's other ones. Jack Clark's up there, Ahmad's up there. You know, Dennis Serkin, I think, is a shout for up there. Dan Ballard when he played. But yeah, for me, it's got. I mean, I think it's a pretty obvious one, because I think a lot of people view him this win. I think he won Sunderland's Player of the Season, but yeah, Danny Bart for me.
He did. Adam, player of the season.
I feel like whenever I get asked this, I try to overcomplicate it. I think Ahmad.
No, trust me, I do that. You're fine.
Like Ahmad has been the player of the season. I think everyone has to see the player of the season, and the only reason you wouldn't say he's player of the season is if you overcomplicate it, which is what I'm going to do as well. So for me, I think Luke O'Nien, because personally, like I did expect him to be able to play at this level, but he's took on this centre half role by himself, and I think you know Danny Ballard's been injured, Danny Bath's been injured. He has been our centre half, and he's not even a centre half. Like, he's the person we've looked to for leadership and stuff in the final few games and in the playoffs and stuff. And he's took that role on superbly. So I think you've got to give it to Luke O'Nien.
I think it's mental how long he's been here as well.
It's 5 years, isn't it?
I feel like 5 years. Do you know what it is? I think because like everything's been happening and like new things have happened and we've had promotions and a bit of excitement and stuff. I think time goes quicker when you're doing stuff like that. If we were just like say in the same league for 5 divisions, on the trot, like just mid-table, not doing anything, I think it would feel a lot longer.
Yeah, I do wish we had promotions, but unfortunately, it was just a promotion.
Yeah, true.
And Lyndon Gooch playing centre half as well at the end of the season, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
a very interesting one. But that is it for that. And of course, you know, there's so much to happen between now and the start of next season, which I think is the 7th of August.
Something like that. I think the Premier League starts at something like the 13th, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the first week in August. I'm fairly sure that the season starts.
We always start a week before the Premier League.
4th to the 6th, isn't it? I think
something like that. Close enough. So you know, there's still a long time to go between now and then. You know, the last podcast we did, we talked about the Mowbray situation, whether he was staying, whether he was going. In fact, the club need to sort that out sooner rather than later, and it seems like they have, because it seems like he is staying, which I think everyone probably agrees with after the season we've had. You know, Bellingham, the rumours of him coming in just start the kind of the summer, the rumours, the signings, which Sunderland do need to make. And between now and the signings, we'll have some podcast out to talk about just absolute crap, really. Just to get stuff out there, a few things here and there. The next one, which we'll try and get done early next week, will be unpopular opinions, which a lot of people have actually replied to. And I think you said, Adam, that you looked through some of them, and they were remarkably outrageous, some of them.
Unpopular opinions, they were just wrong facts, weren't they?
They were, some of them were. I'm going to try and find a couple now just to tease that next podcast.
The worst one was that someone said that Patrick Robertson and Diallo's link-up play.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, it did us more harm than good. Yeah.
Yeah, that it made Jack Clark isolated. Well, that was the whole point.
Yeah. I'll pick a couple that we can look at very quickly. We didn't overachieve. We got the minimum I'd accept from a squad of this quality. Michael, quickly.
Finished 5th in League One, came up, and we were a promoted club. That should answer that question.
That is a very fair point. Here's one for you, Adam. O'Nien is massively overrated. Disagrees with it so much that he's not even there.
All I'll say is that's unpopular for a reason.
It is.
No, I was there. I just said that is just again a wrong fact.
It is very much. It's all opinion based, but some opinions are just wrong, can't they?
Can I just ask your opinions on one more before you finish? What do you reckon about the if we would have won the playoffs if we kept our team fit and if Alex Neil hadn't gone to Stoke? Because that was one of them.
If Alex Neil hadn't gone to Stoke, I don't think we'd have made the playoffs.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
It's the question. Basically, the question you're asking is Ross Stewart more worthy to the side than Alex Neil is detrimental to the side? I think that is the question that goes on. I don't know. I'd probably say I think we'd have made them. The best team doesn't always win the playoffs anyway, so you can't really do that. I think making them is the achievement itself.
Yeah, it's a lot to react on it.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. But there is approximately 200 replies to that tweet. So over 2 podcasts, we'll go through as many of them as we can. And I'm sure that will raise a lot of discussion in the podcast. But like I said, we'll try and get that out early in the next week. But until then, we will see you later.
That's all, folks.